guys, we are Tottenham TV here. Ben is away in Portugal, but I'm going to be here doing your Spurs Weekly, so let's get right into it. For starters, everyone's been eagerly anticipating, obviously, Spurs moving into their new stadium. Everyone's been wondering, what is the new stadium going to be called? And we finally got an answer this week. Spurs have announced the stadium name is, drumroll, the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Extremely original by the Spurs hierarchy. Obviously, in actuality, I don't actually think this name is going to be anything more than a temporary name before we sell the naming rights off to someone who's going to sponsor the new stadium. And obviously, we're going to probably rebrand the stadium in whoever buys the rights. But for the time being, it's going to be called the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. In reality, it doesn't really matter what it's called because everyone's going to call it White Hart Lane anyway, or the Lane. So they can call it whatever they want. Everyone's going to refer to the Lane. So they might as well just call it White Hart Lane, to be honest. But they're not going to do that. They're going to look for a bit extra, a bit more cash, get the naming rights in, and then we'll get the real name. But for now, the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium is what we're going to be moving to next season. Moving on, Spurs had their first friendly of the US tour this week in San Diego. We played Roma, and it finished Spurs 4, Roma 1 in what was quite a comprehensive win at the end of the day. Spurs actually went behind after 3 minutes, but 2 goals from Fernando Llorente and Lucas Moura sealed the win for Spurs. Really important that people like Lucas Moura start the season fit and firing, considering Dele Alli, Harry Kane are going to be late coming back. Eriksen, had a pretty full-on World Cup. I think exited the last 16, although he played against Roma. And Son is going to be missing for quite a few games at the beginning of the season, although he's available for the opening game against Newcastle. So if Lucas can start the season really on form and firing, that's going to be a massive help to us in how we start the season, because he really needs to step up and come into his own. We're relying a lot on Lucas, especially if we don't get someone like Martial or Zaha before the end of the window, which is looking unlikely. It's going to put a lot of emphasis on Lucas Moura. And if he can put in performances like he did on Wednesday, I know it's only a friendly, can't judge too much, but he was running past people, he was dribbling, and he looked like, he had that end product as well. A lovely finish for that second goal, a lovely header for the first goal as well. And linked up well with Serge Aurier, who I thought had a fine game as well. So, bodes well for the beginning of the season, but obviously always the caveat, it's only friendly. Then you have Fernando Llorente, who got a nice brace as well, but is he just doing it to be in the shop window? Is he looking to edge a move out of Spurs? He's already said that he's quite open to leaving Spurs before the end of the window, and I'm not surprised seeing how much game time he got last season and seeing that he's not a massive fan favourite either. So wouldn't be surprised if it's just he's playing up a bit to try and he's playing well to try and force a move, try and get people's attention, or given that we haven't signed a sub striker again, and obviously Janssen's not going to be back at Spurs, he's going to be moving on, looks like either Fenerbahce or somewhere in Turkey. So maybe Llorente will get another season at Spurs, but if he puts in more performances like this, maybe it'll be good. But I'm not sure if he'll be here before the end of the window. Moving on to transfer news again, Spurs have yet to make a signing. It's gone very quiet. There's just over 2 weeks now for the start of the season when the transfer window closes, and we're yet to make a signing. Especially given Pochettino's commented in the last season, it's very frustrating that Spurs are yet to dip into the market. And I know we like to leave it late usually, but Poch made it very, very clear that we need players early so they can get used to the training methods, and they can take sometimes up to 7 weeks for them to get used to how we play and to really make an impact. And it's very frustrating that whoever we sign now, it's likely that it's going to take them time to bed in. And given that we've had a lot of players at the World Cup, most in the Premier League, or second most, are we in for another slow start to the season? Doesn't bode well. Given that a lot of players at the World Cup and lack of signings, and the signings coming in late, all directions point to a slow start. Maybe we've learned our lesson, maybe we've changed our training methods, we can somehow account for all these factors and have a fit and firing start, but it looks unlikely. But the transfer news at the moment is that same again, Spurs with Martial and Toby Alderweireld. What's happening there is apparently Toby and Spurs and Man United are completely far apart in their estimations. In fact, Man United apparently look at Harry Maguire now instead of Toby Alderweireld. Apparently Leicester are demanding around 65 million for Harry Maguire, and Spurs want apparently 75 million for Toby Alderweireld. Apparently United aren't prepared to pay the 75, and they're not prepared to give Martial to us either as part of the deal instead of paying all that money. Martial has a lot of news coming out this week. Martial has explicitly said to Man United he wants out, he wants to leave, and he's very open to move to Tottenham Hotspur, which I'm not surprised. I think he would fit in very well at Spurs. I think he'd be a really good attacking threat. We play nice attacking football. I think he would thrive here. He can also play multiple positions, but I can understand Man United not wanting to strengthen the rival. It would be really frustrating if we don't get Martial and we give them Toby Alderweireld for, you know, any deal that has been kind of subsidised because of the 25 million Reece clause next summer. It'll be very, very frustrating. We don't want to strengthen a rival. We want to be one of the big players, so we don't want to be giving them Toby Alderweireld with nothing in return. I think if we were to get Martial in return, wouldn't be the end of the world. I think he's a player who can develop into one of the best attackers in Europe, and I really think he would enjoy playing under Pochettino. So this deal is going to run on. I think it's a game of poker. I think there could be a deal made. I think because Martial really wants to leave. I think he wants to stay in the Premier League. So, and I think obviously Toby Alderweireld, he played in the World Cup. He had a very good World Cup. That probably bodes well for him in terms of he's had his injury problems, but he's come back and he's looking like the defender he was before his injury. And I think Man United will see that. They'll certainly see he's one of the best defenders in the league. They'll see that, you know, for Spurs, he's been absolutely exceptional. And one big injury might not deter them. So I reckon Martial for Toby could happen before the end of the window. It's going to be a big fight between Levy and Ed Woodward to see who comes out on top on that one. Maybe they'll just both end up staying, which I wouldn't mind either. As long as we don't give Man United anything without getting anything back, I don't mind. If they keep Martial and we keep Toby, so be it. I don't mind that, but I don't want them giving Toby without getting Martial in return. The deal that's been running on all through the summer, and it looks like it's hit a breaking point, and it's the Jack Grealish deal. Now, it looked like awful world to see. There was always going to happen. Villa were in big money trouble. They needed the money, and Grealish was their most valuable asset, and Spurs really wanted him. Looked like we could maybe get a cut price deal, but unfortunately, apparently this week, Aston Villa their owners now pumped more money into the club, which is meaning that they're actually not as desperate as they were a few weeks ago to sell Jack Grealish to Spurs. So apparently we're not going to be getting a cut price deal now. If we want to get Jack Grealish, we're going to have to be paying top dollar. There is a rumour circulating that there's still some cash issues at Villa, so that they might take a cut price deal for the moment for Grealish so they can get through those and then the extra investment will come up. But remains to be seen. I think this deal looks like it's on the rocks at the moment. I think we wanted Grealish more to do with the price than to do with how good he is. I think he's a good player. I think he'll do well at Spurs. I think he could develop into a very good player, but I think the deal was more to get a bargain than to I don't think we want to be splashing out 30, 40 million. If we can get him for around 25, 20, under 20, or between like 15 and 25 million, I think we'd probably do a deal. But at the moment, it looks like Villa aren't desperate to sell him. So it looks like we're going to have to be either play the waiting game until the deadline, or we're going to have to pay top dollar. It's not going to happen, which is a real again, really frustrating, because we could have had this deal wrapped up months ago. If we would have just stopped playing poker, get it done early, we could have had a pretty decent deal, I reckon, going. But looks like we've missed the boat again on Jack Grealish waiting too long, and now Villa have put in extra money, so it looks like it might not happen. One final deal is Wilfried Zaha. Doesn't look like it's going to happen, though. He posted some cryptic Instagram messages today saying everything's going to change today, and he's taking Crystal Palace off his Instagram bio. So maybe there's going to be some movement there, whether it's the Spurs or whatnot. There's not much rumours at the moment. Spurs are in for him, all prepared to pay between 60 and 70 million that's going to require to get Zaha to Spurs. So I'm not hopeful that deal's going to happen, but you know, you can always cross your fingers. Something's maybe happening with Zaha. Taking Palace off your bio, it seems a bit weird, but maybe we're just reading too much into these silly rumours. So these Instagram stories, social media, players, they just play around with it sometimes. So maybe we're reading too much into it, but we'll see. That was your Spurs Weekly. Let us know in the comments below who you'd like us to sign. Let us know if you think Martial for Toby would be a good deal. Let us know what you think of the new stadium name. Let us know also what you think of Lucas Moura. Is he going to step up next season for Spurs? And as always, come on, you Spurs.